Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Van Chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you a part of Great Expectations.
As.
Al.
Great Expectations. Charles Dickens. 15 Sec 1. As I was getting too big for Mr. Wopsle's guidance room, my education under that preposterous female terminated. That did. However, until Biddy had imparted to me everything she knew, from the little catalogue of prices to a comic song she had once bought for a halfpenny. Although the only coherent part of the latter piece of literature were the opening lines. When I went to London town, sirs, wasn't Eidenbury brown, sirs? Still, in my desire to be wiser, I got this composition by heart with utmost gravity, nor do I recollect that I questioned its merit, excess of the poetry. In my hunger for information, I made proposals to Mr. Wopsle to bestow some intellectual crumbs upon me, with which he kindly complied. As it turned out, however, that he only wanted me for a dramatic lay figure, knocked about in a variety of ways. I soon declined that course of instruction, though not until Mr. Wopsle in his poetic fury had severely mauled me. Whatever I acquired, I tried to impart to Joe. This statement sounds so well that I cannot in my conscience let it pass unexplained. I wanted to make Joe less ignorant in common, that he might be worthier of my society and less open chest till his reproach. The old battery out on the marshes was our place of study, and a broken slate and a short piece of slate pencil were our educational implements, to which Joe always added a pipe of tobacco. I never knew Joe to remember anything from one Sunday to another, or to acquire, under my tuition, any piece of information whatever, than anywhere else, even with the learned, or as if he considered himself to be advancing immensely. Dear fellow, I hope he did. It was pleasant and quiet, out there with the sails on the river passing beyond the earthwork. And sometimes, when the tide was low, bottom of the water, whenever I watched the vessels standing out to sea with their white sails spread, I somehow thought of Miss Havisham and Estelle. And whenever the light struck aslant, afar off, upon a cloud or sail or green hillside or wash line, life appeared to have something to do with everything that was picturesque. One Sunday when Joe, greatly enjoying his pipe, for the day, I lay under it for some time with my chin on my hand, descrying traces of Miss Havisham and Estella all over the prospect, in the sky and in the water. In my head, Joe, said I. Well, Pip, returned Joe, slowly considering. What for? Joe? There is some wisits perhaps, said Joe, as forever remains open to the question. Pip? But in regard to visiting Miss Havisham, 30 think I might say that I did not. You might. Old Chap, said Joe, and she might credit it. Joe felt, as I did, that he had made a point there, and he pulled hard at his pipe to keep himself from weakening it by repetition. You see, Ilju Bishij. As soon as he was past that danger, Miss Avishantan the handsome thing by you. When Miss Avishantan the handsome thing by you. Is. Joe. All Joe repeated. Very emphatically. Is. Joe. I tell you. Which I mean to say. In. Oath. I had thought of that too. Of it. For it seemed to render it more probable. But. Is. Here am I. Getting on in the first year of my time. And then. Since the day of my being bound. I have never thanked Miss Havisham. Or asked after her. That's true. Then. Acceptable as a present. I don't mean that sort of remembrance. Joe. Upon it. Or even city. Say gross or two shark-headed screws for general use here some light fancy article. I don't mean any prisons at all. Joe, I interposed. Well, said Joe, still harping on it as though I had particularly pressed it. If I was yourself. In. I wouldn't. Well, I would not. For what's a door chain when she's got one always up? And shark headers is open to misrepresentation. And if it was a toasting fork, you'd go into brass and do yourself no credit. Gridiron, said Joe, steadfastly impressing it upon me, as if he were endeavouring to rouse me from a fixed delusion. And you may aim at what you like, but a great dang it will come out, either by your leave or again your leave. My dear Joe, I cried, in desperation, taking hold of his coat. Don't go on in that way. Did Joe assent, as if he had been contending for that all along. And what I say to you is, you are right. Is. Joe. But what I wanted to say. What? That as we are rather slack just now, if you would give me a half holiday tomorrow. Which her name, said Joe, gravely. Into Stavisham. In. I know. Joe. I know. It was a slip of mine. What do you think of it? In brief, Joe thought that if I thought well of it, he thought well of it. But he was particular in stipulating that if I were not received with cordiality, no ulterior object but was simply one of gratitude for a favour received, then this experiment with trip should have no successor. By these conditions I promised to abide. And Joe kept a journeyman at weekly wages whose name was Orlick. In this particular understanding, he was a broad-jowled, loose and swarthy fellow of great strength, never in a hurry, and always slouching. He never even seemed to come to his work on purpose, but would slouch in as if by mere accident. And when he went to the Jolly Bargeman to eat his dinner, or went away at night, he would slouch out, like King or the Wandering Jew, coming back. He lodged at a sluice keeper's out on the marshes, and on working days would come slouching from his hermitage, his neck entangling on his back. On Sundays he mostly lay all down the sluice gates, or stood against ricks and barns. He always slouched, locomotively, with his eyes on the ground. To be continued.